Hello again, everybody. It's Thursday. It's time for my weekly haul video, so let's just jump right into it and see what we've got here. First, I want to mention that I got kind of a tiny little mail call. Dropped $6 on eBay, Amazon, one of the two, because I needed the first issue of Sword. The reason why I wanted it because it has Death's Head in it. I was able to get issues 2 through 5. They did not really advertise that Death's Head was in it, so I had no idea from the beginning. But I finally got that first issue. Ended up with extra copies of issues 2 through 4. Not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but there is that. Moving on to my regular books this week. First reprint. What's this? Green Lantern, co-starring Green Arrow, number 85. Iconic cover there, iconic story. At least I thought it was an iconic story. I read this one, and the whole reveal here, the whole thing about the cover with Speedy being a junkie, that's on the last page, pretty much. So the next issue, actually, I guess they kind of deal with it. But what's really sweet about these DC facsimile editions is they do kind of print it on old school paper as well. So it feels like a classic comic book. But I got that one today, this week. I also grabbed Amazing Spider-Man, number 34. That's the cover that I grabbed. I got 2099 Alpha, number 1. Now this one had a couple of different covers to it. I grabbed this one because it has more characters on it, including my all-time favorite one, Ghost Rider 2099. So that's the one I grabbed. And Fantastic Four 2099. One shot. All the 2099 books this time around are all one shots. Now, 2099 starts. It does start in the Amazing Spider-Man story. This is issue 34. It kind of kicks off in issue 33. Then you do this one. Then you read Alpha, and then you can start reading the one shots. And it's pretty good. It's kind of a slow start, but the thing that really surprised me with it is the Fantastic Four one. They really do a huge swerve in this story. You of course get the sort of generic, this character likes this character sort of thing. I know the point of it, but it's become generic. It's become boring and basically expected. So, but the reason why these characters are getting put together, and as you see on the cover, it says Fantastic Four, but this isn't our Fantastic Four, although there's a lot of similarities between our Fantastic Four and this version of it. And there is a reason why these ones are being brought together, the person who's bringing them together, and what happens to them once they're brought together are the big surprises. So it was actually a lot of fun. I didn't really enjoy the original Fantastic Four 2099, but I did enjoy this one. It's a one-shot. It's very self-contained, so there's really not much more they can do with it until they get into more of the other 2099 books. So, but if you're a fan of 2099, this is definitely an mini event to check out. Speaking of mini events to check out, and without a doubt my favorite book this week, Annihilation Scourge number 1. This is the Ron Lim variant that I picked up. There's a couple of variant covers. There's 2 variants and 1 standard cover for it. Originally, I was going to get the standard cover because it had everybody in it, but then I saw the Ron Lim cover in person, and I'm a sucker for Ron Lim art, especially when he does cosmic characters, so I had to grab this one. Now, this book it was just as much fun. Actually, you know what? Let's put this up here. It was just as much fun as the original Annihilation series. So if you've read Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest, it's just as fun. It's just like with Annihilation. Even though it was called Annihilation, nobody really ever made the connection between Annihilation and Annihilus until he showed up, and then it hits the fan. With Annihilation Conquest, the reveal of Ultron was a huge surprise to everybody. This one continues that tradition. So you've got Annihilus and you've got Blastar in the negative zone fighting this weird enemy that is infecting their soldiers that isn't dying, which really annoys Annihilus, who is the death who walks and wants everything to die. Suddenly nothing, these things aren't dying. But then you get to the reveal of what they are and where they're from. And it was when they make the reveal of where they're from and who else is involved with it, it's just kind of like a holy crap moment. And you don't get a whole lot of those in comics anymore because a lot of stuff gets spoiled ahead of time, unfortunately. But this is definitely a book to read. This was my favorite book of this week, and I'm very much looking forward to getting the one-shots and just seeing where this series goes. It's so much fun. I read Annihilation Conquest once a year. I've got the trades for the whole thing. So I read that, and I read Infinity Gauntlet. They're my annual reads of Marvel events. When this one comes out in trade in February, I think, I will be getting the trades for it, and this is going to join my list of annual reads because this book was awesome. It was amazing. So that was basically all the DC and Marvel stuff. It was kind of a small week. I also grabbed this is the Skeletor variant cover for He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse, #1 of 6, and this is easiest way to describe this if you've read the original Spider-Verse series. Where you have a villain that's going through different versions of Spider-Man and killing some of them are surviving, and then there's a small coalition of different spiders that are getting together to try to stop the main baddie. That's essentially what this is. It follows that template almost to a T. You've got a version of Eternia that has He-Man who's evil, and instead of Grayskull is Hellskull, and in that world, the part of Prince Adam is actually Prince Keldar, who we know is becoming Skeletor at some point. So you've got those roles flipped. So Keldar has to be the good guy, and he's trying to fight and he's trying to defeat evil He-Man, basically. And of course, they drop one of those little generic things in there that just kind of annoys me, but nothing really outrageously original about this, since they are copying Spider-Verse to a T, but it's still entertaining. The He-Man that shows up in this one was not a He-Man that I expected to see, and I understand that further down the road they are going to be bringing in the He-Man from the 1980s series. So, but there is a He-Man in here that was very much a surprise, and even though it is basically Spider-Verse, I enjoyed it, and I'm actually going to be checking out the rest of this one because it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it for what it was. And finally this week, I grabbed some books from Boom Studios. Once in Future, #4 of 6, which is a book that's still a fun read, but it's a 6-issue series. I'm going to finish it out, but honestly, at this point, it is kind of running out of steam. This is definitely not a book that would have been able to maintain an ongoing status, and actually, 6 issues are probably too much for it. I hope it picks up a little bit, but it's kind of running on fumes right now. So, it's still a good book, though. It's got some great art. The concept is a lot of fun, but on the flip side, a book that has a great concept, great art, awesome characters, and one that we're only 3 issues in, but I'm still very much enjoying it. Something is Killing the Children. This book is a lot of fun. If you're looking for something that's dark, that's mysterious, that's sort of kind of a little bit like Stranger Things, this is definitely the book to check out. It's only 3 issues in. The first issue went into multiple printings. I think the second issue went to a couple of printings. This one may not, but this one is not losing any steam at all. So it's a lot of fun. I do very much enjoy it. And I do recommend it too. It's definitely a book that I think that more people should be reading and enjoying. Also, just as a side note, I showed you last week that I picked up the Spider-Verse. This little guy here, I haven't had a chance to bag and board. I just actually opened it up. So this is the Spider-Verse Walmart exclusive variant. It also came with, I was kind of also curious what other books it came with. I got Spider-Man 2, #1, second printing. And Uncanny X-Men Annual #1, second printing, which is kind of a weird thing to say of a second printing of an annual. But those are the books I got. So I'm kind of curious. Are these the standards for everybody's books? Is this what everybody's getting, or are they getting a mixture of stuff? And this is the only constant. So let me know in the comments below. Are you getting something different, or is this what you're getting as well? So that's what I've got this week. I'm going to go ahead and toss some of these up on the wall along with a few other things, and we'll see what the wall looks like this week. So let's pause this sucker. All right, there is the wall this week, everybody. Oh, something else that I wanted to mention. Let's pull this guy out. This one right here, it's X-Men, excuse me, X-Men #2, the 2099 variant. As I've mentioned on numerous times before, my LCS Nostalgia Inc., downtown Jackson, they do raffles every week, where if you purchase a first issue, or if there's a specific issue that they have on a list, you get a raffle ticket, and you put that into one of multiple books that you can try to win. They do a drawing, and they let you know if you won. I won that one this week. So I have X-Men, the new X-Men series #2. I don't have #1. I tried to get #1 because I thought, well, hey, maybe I can win that and I could actually read the series. But I may flip through it just to see what it's like. Just because it's a comic book. Why not? So, yep, again, there's my wall. And thanks again, everybody, for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave some comments down below. I'm starting to get more and more of those comments, too. It's actually kind of cool. So feel free to like, subscribe, share. Again, comments. Let me know what you thought about He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. And, I mean, as once in future, losing steam for you, too, let me know. I do recommend that one, Annihilation Scourge, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite book this week. I mean, I actually may read that one again this weekend. So, again, thanks for watching, and we shall see you later.